My name is Michael John Gorman, and I am the director of the Science Gallery at Trinity College in Dublin. I suppose I think of Sinergy as what happens when you have different elements and when you bring them together in a combination where the combination has a greater impact than the sum of the original elements. So, for example, if you're bringing together 3 sticks into a triangle, the triangle has a strength that the original and a rigidity of structure which would not be imaginable just from the properties of the individual sticks. So it's when you get some new property that emerges as a consequence of the way you bring things together. That's how I would think of it. Well, I suppose I'm interested in, I don't really use the word synergy in my work. I don't find it terribly useful, but I am interested in bringing together people in different ways from different backgrounds. So bring together scientists, artists, designers, engineers, entrepreneurs, and facilitating an interaction between them, leading to the development of new projects. So that is a situation where you have people with different specialisms, different interests, and who sometimes have never come into contact with each other, but by facilitating their interaction, sometimes you get very inspiring results. Not always, but sometimes. So in the Science Gallery, for example, we develop projects through this kind of cross-disciplinary collaboration. So we will bring together groups from different areas, and sometimes the results are things that we never anticipated. So for example, we had some people who came to the gallery. They wanted to create a light project on a building. We connected them together with an engineer, an events manager, and the next thing was that this skyscraper in Dublin was converted into a creative canvas where anybody could send animations to the building. So we are catalysts really for those kinds of processes, and we help to bring people outside of their comfort zone and into new kinds of collaborations. So perhaps that is synergy, I don't know. I suppose you have to be prepared to take risks for it to work well. So not all of the projects that come out of those creative collaborations will succeed, and that's natural. So I think at the beginning of such a process, you have to be prepared for the idea of failure of some of the projects. Also there's a risk that like any kind of cross-disciplinary collaboration, sometimes people get very attached to their ideas, and it's difficult for them to let go of ideas that they're personally invested in. Sometimes when you bring together scientists and artists, for example, they have different systems of value. Their careers work in different ways. So whatever the collaboration is, in some way it needs to make sense for both of them. But I think that the benefits of this kind of collaboration outweigh the risks because we find that when we get some really amazing scientists or artists who will work with us, and they will actually see new possibilities for their own work. Just as a result of having these conversations with people outside their area. So, it's a process. It's a difficult process because a scientist needs to publish papers, they need to publish articles in journals, and they need to get recognition for their research. They don't receive recognition necessarily for participating in an artistic project or engaging the public. Similarly, artists need to work in a particular market for the arts. They need to work with specific galleries and so on, and sometimes the art science work is regarded as outside of the core art world. So So the challenge is really in drawing people in and really helping them to make that leap of faith, where the immediate rewards to them are not obvious within their system of values. Well, I suppose there's, I've spent the last 3.5 years working on developing Science Gallery at Trinity College in Dublin, which is a very different kind of project for an old university to do this kind of thing, to create a new sort of space like Science Gallery. So now the interesting thing we're looking at is could we create a network of such spaces where in each city there is a university partner, because we are very much a model of a space where we're bringing together researchers with artists, with architects, with designers. So we rely on that kind of partnership with the university. So we're thinking, okay, if one had similar spaces in different cities, which were benefiting from the creative community and the research community and the technology communities in those cities, how could one actually share exhibitions, share ideas, and benefit from the different strengths that is in each place, so that you create a network that's actually learning from all of its different members. So that's, I suppose, what the next step that we're looking at. And it's an interesting challenge because in each city there are different local factors. Some things will work in one city, but they won't work in another city. In one city you may have amazing strength in design. In another city they may have very good biotechnology. So the interesting thing is to design a structure, a creative platform which can draw on those strengths, rather than a structure which is overly restrictive and requires you to apply the same model to each city. So our ambition is to have 8 spaces by 2020 around the world. So it's very much a network of cross-disciplinary spaces.